I've been working for way more than 10 years, and I recently made a career change. I'm trying to think about how to prepare for the next step, which can be daunting. I feel like, I just hopped over this hurdle and it's a lot, but this is an important part of growing and continuing to do other great things in the world. It's been interesting to embark on this path again. I feel like, in all honesty, this is something that I should do more frequently. It's just, it takes a lot out of you when you don't do it very often, and it can be really overwhelming to think about, where do I start, or is this really where I want to go? And you want me to think about and plan out the next 5 to 10 years of my life. I know everyone loves to do that. Welcome back to another video. Today I just wanted to sit down and chat and share some things that I've remembered, relearned, picked back up as I think about the next step of my career. I know 2022 is well underway, but it seems like it's a great thing to do now that we've got a fresh slate. But don't get me wrong, any time that you want, any time that you need can be a fresh slate. But it seemed timely to talk about building your career and just thinking about how to check in with yourself to make sure that you're going in the direction that you want to go in. So I wanted to just talk about that with you. One of the first ways you can start to figure out where to go on this daunting, long career journey is to think about what you love to do and what you hate to do. And this took me a long time for it to sink in, really, because if you're like me, let me know. I always had this idea that, work is work. There's that saying, people pay you to do work for a reason. And so my attitude was really about getting the job done and doing the best job possible, which is great and important. But when it comes to building a career path, that's not exactly the best way to ensure that you're doing something that fulfills you emotionally, is sustainable, and something that you want to be part of your legacy. And I know that sounds dramatic, but we spend so much time at work, and doing work is such a big part of our lives, and it's kind of one of the ways in which we can leave a mark on this world. So an easy way to get started, if you don't know where to start, is to just create a list of all the things you love to do and that you hate to do. Sometimes also, if you're like me, you're like, well, I feel neutral about it. You have to do it anyway, so I don't have feelings about it. You can think about what things you've done at work or in a work setting, or that you do generally, like hobbies that excite you versus really drain you, or things that you dread doing, or things you're not good doing. And as much as we don't want to admit that we don't have any weaknesses sometimes, or we might not think that we have weaknesses, we want to do it all. We do have weaknesses. And you need to be aware of them in order to think about what it is that you actually want to spend most of your time doing. And while there's always going to be some downsides to work or things you don't like about work, it doesn't mean that it has to be an uphill battle. 80% of your work doesn't have to be things that drain you and make you unhappy. You have that choice to shape the career that you want to have. And thinking about what excites you is a great way to find that first step and even take action on and do the next thing that I'm about to talk about. Once you've built a list, another great thing to do is to imagine your dream job. And I know it sounds silly, or maybe you're at the point in your career where you're like, dream jobs don't exist. Work is work, and I'm just here to work, and I just want something sustainable. Well, that's part of your dream job. It doesn't have to be something that's totally wild and out there and outlandish, like being a supermodel, being an astronaut, or what else is really hard to do. Honestly, a lot of things are really hard to do out there. Don't let the thought of a dream job seeming unrealistic stop you from dreaming big. You can only accomplish great things when you start to really allow yourself to imagine what that could be like. And even if you don't necessarily hit that dream job marker, or it's not exactly the way you pictured it, you'll still be working one step closer towards what you actually want in your life. Thinking about the things that you like to do, or things that you do that excite you, do is a really easy way to start imagining that dream life or that dream job. Honestly, I think imagining a dream scenario is a really fun way to set goals. Sometimes people say like goal setting and they groan, or it can feel really tired to talk about goal setting. I know there's a lot of popular books out there and a lot of popular podcasts, YouTube videos about productivity and goal setting, and maybe you're just over it, but goals don't have to be that intense or that rigid if that's not something that you like. And thinking about what your dream job could be and would be gives you a North Star to work towards, and from there you can kind of work backwards and have fun with it. A lot of times when you think about goals, you think about this is something I have to do to fix something that's broken, and that's not true at all. Goals can be a fun way to think about new things that you want to explore. Having that dream job in your mind's eye as a scenario or a place in your life that you're working towards is a really fun way to motivate you, because you're excited thinking about the job that you would love to have and be happy in. When you're emotionally invested in this vision or just having fun and playing around with your imagination, it's an easy way to work backwards, and the ideas and the path kind of just lay themselves out for you in front of you. For example, let's say you wanted to be the CEO of a beauty company, a global, international, well-known, prestigious beauty company, and you might say to yourself, well, what does a CEO need to know how to do? Well, you would probably need to understand how the beauty industry works. So maybe you start by getting a job in retail or watching videos about how a beauty company works on the inside, or even taking business classes because you're going to need business skills as a CEO. Having that vision, you would have never reached these conclusions, or probably would have taken you a longer time to reach these conclusions if you didn't have that dream scenario in your mind's eye. Working backwards from a goal helps you get excited about taking actionable steps. It makes your dream concrete, and it helps you take this next big step in building your career path, which is investing in yourself. Especially as women in the workforce, a lot of people out there feel so caught up with all the things they have to get done in a day that they don't take the time to invest in themselves, which can be detrimental to your career. I think there's some hesitation around seeming like you're being selfish by putting yourself first, but you can't do the best job that you'll do in any job if you aren't taking the time to take ownership of your own growth and development. You have to be the one to take charge on that, because nobody else is going to tell you to do it or encourage you. You have to be your own advocate. Investing in yourself through professional development is a great way to ensure that you stay sharp and continue to grow, and you're on the right track towards the things that you really want to do that fulfill you in your career. Building skills helps you build momentum towards the dream career that you have in your mind. The more that you build out your skill set, the more new perspectives that you gain, more creative ideas you'll have at work, and this will open up tons of doors and new opportunities that you never even thought you would want or knew existed. If you work at a company, most companies do offer professional development in some shape or form, because companies know that when employees are continuing to learn and grow, that is only good for business. So your company might have, for example, a subscription to regular trainings online like Harvard Business Review or LinkedIn Learning. YouTube is also a really great tool to learn things that you're interested in. Or if you really like structure and organization and being in school, you can also take classes. I personally took an accounting class at my local community college when I was learning how to do bookkeeping. I had to manage budgets for my team, and I decided that I wanted to grow in this area of my career, and I signed up for a community college class. I just took basic accounting, and I learned so much. As somebody who didn't really see myself as a math person before, it really became something that I loved to do at my job. Growth doesn't just happen by learning new things in a classroom, growth also happens when you network with other people. And I know networking is like that dirty word that nobody likes to hear, but it's important. If you think about all the time that you spend in a day working, most people would say that they spend 80% of their time working and 20% networking. Investing in yourself also means investing in your community and building your network, and that means networking. And I know some people really hate that word. Like, it seems slimy, it seems uncomfortable, awkward, and I think a lot of people feel nervous about networking because maybe they don't want to seem like they're being self-serving or being sneaky or asking for a favor, things like that. But if you think about all the work that you do in a day or in your life in general, anything you have to do, most of it you can't do 100% by yourself. A lot of things in your life are gonna take help and resources, and sometimes those resources are your connections. So it's important that you build a network or a garden of connections that you're nurturing and taking care of. And I would say that networking, like any relationship, is a two-way street. It's not something that you should think of as, I need this and I'm gonna go out and get it and they're gonna give it to me. It's mutually beneficial. People that you connect with have just as much to gain from you as you have to gain from them. It's really a win-win situation. It's good for everyone. Networking can be strictly professional. I would say it should be strictly professional. Sometimes you may get some good real life friends out of networking, but not everyone you network with has to be your best friend. But you do have this understanding that I am somebody who respects my connections and that I know that they are valuable and have something to offer, as well as myself. I know I have something to bring to the table that other people will need and is valuable. We're just working together in advance to work for a future common goal, whatever that goal may be. Because so much of your work will require help from others in your network, it's important to start networking early and cultivating those relationships. It's great for your work life so you don't feel lonely on one hand, and on the other hand, it's really important because you never know what could happen. Lo and behold, somebody that you know, that you've met, that you've taken the time to get to know, could be that missing piece that helps you complete a project or answer a question or solve a problem. So networking is great for everyone and you shouldn't be scared of it. We could have like a whole other conversation about networking, the types of connections you'll make, why it's important, how often you should be networking. But for today, I'll just stop at the point that networking is important for everyone, and everyone has something to gain when you talk to one another and share information and learn from one another. You can think of the people that you network with as part of your extended team. So building a really large extended team will just enrich your experience in any job that you have along your career journey. People will need you just as much as you need them. You just never know when, which brings me to my final point, that just be mindful that your career will take twists and turns. This is part of the journey. Part of any journey in all of time, all of history, there will be twists and turns and there will be ups and downs. You don't have to have all the answers, just some of them, like what general direction you want to be going, how you want to see yourself grow or change, and how you want to get there or how you might get there or who you can talk to get there. These are all part of this career journey and building, taking each step towards your North Star, which is your dream job. As you start to build and think about where you want to be going in your life, it's great to think about who you want to be, the kinds of people you want to work with, and the type of lifestyle you want to have when you build your career. Like anything in life, there will be lots of uncertainty, and just know that you'll be okay, and that where you start is not necessarily where you're going to end up, and that too is part of the process. It's important to have a general sense of where do you want your career to go, or what kind of experiences you want to have, or the people that you want to work with. You might not know everything, but it might be good to think about what bits and pieces you do want to be a part of your career journey. And knowing that you're working towards something that you really want, that motivates you, that excites you, is going to help you build a career path that's sustainable, that makes you feel fulfilled. We spend so much of our time working, it's wild. I think like next to sleeping, we probably spend most of our time working. Spending the time to think about how you spend this time working and whether or not it's panning out the way that you want to is critical to make sure that you aren't falling into a routine that's causing you to feel jaded or unhappy or dissatisfied. And so hopefully some of these ideas and steps will give you inspiration to take charge of your career journey. Maybe you're working on taking a turn in your career path, or actually thinking about your career journey for the first time in your life. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.